Obviously, we are out and about with carbon. Whether Bob Lutz believes that General Motors believes that global warming is human caused or not, it makes sense to reduce carbon, and we can take carbon out of our vehicle fleets. That's going to be a plus. It's also driving a lot of the electric car momentum in Washington right now, so it's another factor in our favor. Grand Theft Auto bailout Detroit. We kind of discussed Detroit. Chelsea Sexton, who was in our film with me, we went to Detroit in 2008, and the headlines when we were there, it was astonishing, were charged up. Auto companies are charged up because General Motors was rolling that Volt out. And it was very exciting to feel like we're at this transition moment in history. Even if the car companies didn't believe it, they were certainly putting it up front and forward that electricity and the electrification of the vehicle fleet is the future. And there it is. There's that rather difficult sentence, electrification of the automobile. But I've really come to believe this. I'm not spending as much time challenging all the other fuels, whether it's ethanol and biodiesel and all these places. All these fuels have a place in the future. But I think electricity, thanks to renewable energy, is a very, very powerful force in our society. And of course, it has to be accompanied by ways to make that electricity cleanly. Okay, well, one of the problems with electric cars, and I even got asked a question like this morning, was, gee, they're not very sexy looking. And if you don't have something that's fun, people don't want to buy it. So this is a little clip from The Simpsons a few years ago. I thought I'd play it if I can make it work.
Welcome to the electric car of the future, sponsored by the gasoline producers of America.
Hello, I'm an electric car. I can't go very fast or very far, and if you drive me, people will think you're gay.
Welcome to the electric car.
So you get the idea. I don't think that's an issue anymore. Geothermal is not a big, I guess I was reading in the papers doing research coming to Arizona that geothermal has some issues in Arizona, but across the United States, geothermal has a huge future in creating renewable energy that's clean electricity for electric vehicles. I think the statistic I heard at a conference I was at in Durango was something like 15% of American electricity could be geothermal by 2050. Probably a little bit wishful scenario, but I can tell you this picture is from Iceland, and Iceland is 100% geothermal. They make so much electricity that they have to export the electricity as aluminum, which has its own environmental issues. But once you see, the power of the earth, and I think Stan Oshinsky likes to say this, and you hear this a lot, but the incredible fireball under the earth that would all stand on that, lava, so much energy there, and the fireball in the sun, those two fireballs produce so much energy that we just have to be a little bit smarter as human beings to pick it up. Geothermal, I left it out of our movie, I won't leave it out this time. All right, my niece picked out this photo for me. It's of horses. Horses, of course, was the way everybody got around until about 1900. And when electric cars hit the ground for the first time in 1900, along with gas cars, everybody would keep their horseless carriage in the barn. And one of the early problems with electric cars is like, well, do you really want to have, keep gasoline and an electric charger with all that hay around? And all the rules had to be changed when people switched from horses to gasoline automobiles. And I think that are remarkable how fast it actually did happen, for better or for worse, and there's no reason we can't have a fast transition again. And maybe add horses back into the mix. This is a really important concept. One of the takeaways that certainly I hadn't really thought about this seriously until last week, and I've been following this. The idea of islands. I was in Israel tracking Project Better Place, the battery swapping electric car initiative in Tel Aviv. And they made the point that, electric cars are perfect for places like Hawaii or Tel Aviv, where the maximum you could drive is really about 90 miles. And then Shai said to me, he says, every place is an island. Tucson's an island. Think of your whatever your food, where your food's coming from. The more we can think about protecting the island where we live. Sure, we'll have the vehicle that takes us from our island to the next island. So I had to take an airplane to get from here to Europe, but I didn't need my electric car for that. In the same way, we have our gas car that does our 500-mile trip to another island. But what's our island car? So what's our island, and how do we think about that? Jalopnik, the blogosphere, the electric cars are being saved because the internet is so alive and people are tracking this issue. And when the car companies or the oil companies come up with some ridiculous press release, there's all kinds of counterattacks. So that's a great force in our favor. By the way, our website is revengeoftheelectriccar.com, and we have a blog if you want to. Their joint Facebook with that. Kansas, that's Andrew Grin. He's driving a converted Hyundai SUV, and there's a lot of 16-year-olds out there, a lot of 9-year-olds out there, a lot of 24-year-olds out there. The new generation really gets it, and us baby boomers have to stand aside and let this new generation help driving things forward. So I really feel very lucky to have such a powerful force in our young people supporting electric cars and where we're headed. So there's some of those lithium-ion batteries that are in the Tesla's battery pack. Other battery packs, as they improve, have much larger batteries. And I would argue that even if you don't have a lithium, you could use good old-fashioned lead acid because those are recyclable. You can make a much cheaper car still using a lead acid battery. Money, this slide could go on for half an hour, so I won't do it. But the cost analysis on an electric car versus a gas car really gets much, much better with every passing day. If you have no repairs or maintenance for your car, your cost per mile can be very, very low, much lower than a gas car. Gas cars, of course, are made at incredible discounts, but the whole equation, and that's why the whole equation is changing, and that's why Silicon Valley is so interested in these electric car projects right now. National security, of course, we all know this topic. We don't want to do oil. It's just we don't have enough here. We ran out of it in the 70s. And we're shipping all our money overseas. Okay, there he is, Mr. Obama. With Superman. Superman is taller than Obama, just to remind him that he can't solve all the problems of the world. But certainly, he did commit to 1 million plug-in hybrids, and plug-in hybrids is a great transition technology and perfect for trucking and all kinds of things like we discussed. But maybe perhaps the best thing that happened at inauguration this year was as Obama was coming into Washington on his train, he passed 30 protesters, and you probably can't see this, say yes to electric cars or something like that. People were holding it up. And I thought, wow, the grassroots movement behind this is just working so hard. And those of us in the community that have been pushing it continue to push. The Prius has been a big factor in the electric car adoption. Toyota is not always a dependable player in the electric car world, but you have to give Prius credit for making people think that, electric car's not so bad. Get pretty good mileage. Hey, maybe I'm going to drive my car a little bit differently so I get higher mileage because of that electric motor. So it's been a big part of the story. Toyota gets a lot of credit for investing in the Prius when the other car companies were bailing. Whether they'll be part of the next wave, I'm not sure yet. Quality, electric cars are, now that the OEMs are involved, that's Mitsubishi's new iNIV. It's 2,000 of them being tested in Japan right now. Beautiful car. I saw it for a test drive. Super solid. The price point's good. As car makers start bringing higher quality cars, including the big announcement you guys heard yesterday, people will feel more confident about getting them for themselves. Okay, now.